If you ever wondered how to make your own sprinkles, then this video is for you. And if you like my videos, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Hey, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. These sprinkles will be ready before you know it, so let's get started. Scoop a cup of powdered sugar off, and you don't have to be too precious about it. Normally, I weigh things out, I'm exact. This is the easiest recipe ever. 1 cup into a large bowl, and I'm sifting it out. You do want to sift the sugar out. This is why it's important. Do you see inside of here? What's this? Giant sugar rocks. You never know when you're gonna have sugar boulders. These will clog your piping tip or plastic bag, whatever you're using to make the sprinkles, and it's the only thing that can go wrong. The only thing, so just sift it out and you'll be a-okay. Set your sifter aside, we will be using it in a little bit. Now I'm adding 1.5 tablespoons of water. In you go. You could add a little bit more, a little bit less. We can always fix it later. These are gonna be the tastiest sprinkles you've ever had in your life because there's no preservatives and we're using vanilla. Isn't that nice? If the ingredients were as is, your sprinkles would fall apart and they wouldn't be glossy. They'd look kind of like dull and just sad. 1 tablespoon of corn syrup will fix everything. It'll hold it together and make them nice and shiny. If you don't have corn syrup, you can definitely use glucose as well. Add that in there. The corn syrup is taking the place of egg whites, which you'll often find in royal icing or things where you need to have a glossy sugar coating. Now we're gonna mix this up, and don't worry about the consistency right now. It will definitely look a little bit off. You'll notice your mixture will come together pretty quickly and it'll be kind of like white glue, just like that. This is not what you want your sprinkles to look like. They need to be thick and pipeable. There's way too much water in here right now, so we're gonna add the rest of the sugar in. Sifters back over your bowl, and now we're gonna add in about 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. If you wanna make a little bit more, 1 full cup. Sift that out one more time. Now we're gonna mix it one last time, and we can adjust the consistency by either adding more sugar or more water. We want this to be thick and pipeable. This is a really, really fun project to do with little ones in the kitchen, or just by yourself if you want to make some sprinkles. You can make giant sprinkles that are really long, any color combination you'd like. So right now, I have these kind of weird lumps. That's okay. I'm just gonna drizzle about 1 teaspoon of water in at a time while I mix until I have a thick, pipeable mixture. Just like making any glaze, you'll notice that this goes from being kind of like funky and weird to perfect with just a tiny bit of mixing and water. So don't add too much water, because then you'll have to add more sugar and go back and forth, and your sprinkles will take longer than they need to. Right now you can see it's come together, it's a thick paste, but I want just a tiny little bit more water. If you're gonna use water-based food colorings like you get at the supermarket, don't add any more water. I'm using a gel-based food coloring, which is very powerful, so I want to have a final consistency right now. Just a little bit more mixing. We are ready to divide our mixture and color it up. I recommend making 3 to 4 batches of different colors. If you want to have just one color, that's totally fine though. So divide this into equal-ish numbers and get your dye out. The fun part about making your own sprinkles is you can decide how they'll be colored. If you don't like using dyes, go the natural route and use turmeric for yellow. You could use beetroot powder for red. Do whatever you want. You can even flavor them with things like dehydrated raspberries for a pink. The world is your oyster here. I'll be using some gel food colorings. You only need a tiny drop of these to get a really vivid color. Brian got me the set and I love all the different colors. I actually have a few videos where you can see me doing like buttercream paintings on cakes. I'll put a link to that here. And it's just like, it's so fun to play with these. You can get student sets and they're only 6 colors. Let's just add a drop in. Look at this color, so nice. One thing to keep in mind is that your icing will develop a skin fairly quickly, so the surface will dry out and become hard and glossy, which is wonderful after you've piped your sprinkles, but not before. So if you need to step away for a few minutes, just cover it with plastic so it won't dry out too much. There we go. Look at that beautiful color. You can tell by the consistency that this will pipe really well. Set that aside and color the remaining batches. Just for fun, I'll do my last batch electric pink. I get questions all the time about the food colorings, so I'll put a link for my mega set and the smaller student set in the description box below. Our colors are mixed, let's pipe them up. If you want to use a piping tip, my favorite for sprinkles is a number 4, maybe a number 3 if you want to go a little bit thinner. But today I'm just going to snip the tip off my piping bag. It's way easier to clean up and you get basically the same results. Transfer your icing into a piping bag. You could even use a Ziploc bag if you wanted to. Just snip the very tip off your piping bag. By the by, you can definitely make these sprinkles well in advance. They last for quite a while. Once your piping bags are ready, get some parchment paper out and pipe away. Little note, tape does not really stick to parchment paper, but it sticks just enough to help hold it in place. It's very slippery. Now we're just gonna pipe a bunch of straight lines. The best way to do that is to use good pressure on your piping bag and just lead. Don't try and pipe on the parchment paper. You're gonna wanna pipe above the parchment paper and let it fall down. It's pretty thick, so if you're having trouble, just use both hands to squeeze and tighten the piping bag as you go. It doesn't have to be one continuous mega line. Don't worry if you have any gaps, that's gonna be totally unnoticeable. So, if you wanna make confetti sprinkles, all you have to do is pipe little dots. They don't have to be perfect at all. I prefer the long lines though. It's much quicker. Repeat that process with the rest of your colors and let them sit overnight to dry. I wanna show you the swap outs I made yesterday, which are ready to cut. Look at that. You can always test to see if they're ready because you'll be able to lift them right off of the parchment paper. See that? Look at that. Okay, the fun part is chopping them all up, so just use a knife and get to cutting. If you're making sprinkles with kids, you don't have to use a sharp knife. Even your finger will chop them up really easily. Your sprinkles are ready to use. If you want to save them for later, just put them in an airtight container or bag and they'll be good for months. Don't forget to check out my easy cake playlist. It's totally delicious. I'll see you in the next video.